Welcome back, fight fans. This video is brought to you by AB Combat. Notorious as they came, both inside and outside of the ring, the Mike Tyson era of the heavyweight division was a truly wild spectacle. And for this video, we're going to take a dive into the crazy moments that made Iron Mike the legend he is today. Ear candy. How could we make a list of crazy Mike Tyson moments and not give a shout out to perhaps the single most insane DQ in high-level boxing history? Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield's rivalry was already set in stone after their first fight, and after Iron Mike leveled several accusations towards Holyfield for headbutts in both outings, it was clear that there was a lot of bad blood. But even though we knew there was tension, we had absolutely no hint of what was about to follow. After tying up with Holyfield in the clinch, Tyson bit at one of his ears, not once, but twice, leading to the fight stoppage in the third round. Tyson actually managed to take a chunk out of Evander's ear, a chunk he coldly spat out just before the fight was stopped. If you watch fighting for long enough, you'll think you've seen everything, then something like this comes along and rips up the playbook. Sure, we all remember the knockouts, but there's no more infamous moment in Mike Tyson's career than this. Tell him what you really think. Being a boxing reporter puts you within touching distance of some truly dangerous individuals, but for this interviewer, we're guessing he was just happy that Iron Mike wasn't in the same room. It was clear that Tyson was in a bad mood before this interview went off the rails. The line of questioning didn't help, though. Let's be clear. The interviewer poked at Tyson, trying to bait him into answering questions about his anger, the way he speaks, and how his aggressive nature cost him against Evander Holyfield. Mike has always had zero patience for these types of questions, though, and instead of simply continuing the interview in peace, he went on the offensive, letting the reporter know exactly how he felt.
Mike, why do you have to talk like that?
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
You know what? I think we'll end the discussion right now.
Say what you want about the era of Tyson's career, but he never did compromise his attitude, not once. I want to eat his children. Mike Tyson might be known best for his hammering punches and uncoachable viciousness, but when he had to, he could deliver one hell of a promo. After running through Lou Savarese in just 38 seconds, Iron Mike turned his attention to Lennox Lewis post-fight, bringing us the wildest post-fight interview he had ever done. After revealing that he had recently mourned the loss of a friend, out of nowhere, Tyson went off the hook, describing his fighting style in poetic detail, calling out Lewis for not being the conqueror he thinks he is, and finally promising to eat his children.
My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
It was like something out of a movie, and though you might be tempted to think that Tyson rehearsed this, watching it back, it's actually kind of hard to tell. Either way, this was an all-time great call-out and a soundbite that remains one of the most recognizable in the history of boxing. The Brawl. Early 2000s era Mike Tyson had a certain volatility about him, like you never knew exactly what he was about to do. The dude was in a pretty rough state of mind, and it really showed. So when the time came to finally get face-to-face with his great rival Lennox Lewis, Tyson couldn't help but cause a scene. Instead of standing on their allocated platforms, Iron Mike made a beeline directly for the English champion, causing a major brawl on stage that saw both men throwing punches. It was a wild turn of events as chaos engulfed the media event. In the end, thankfully, the fight went ahead as planned, but things were clearly not well in Tyson's life at this point. Indeed, his performances in the ring would show this, but win, lose, or draw, when Iron Mike came to town, you could guarantee some form of spectacle. His most famous threat. Behind all of the toughness and bravado, you could always get the sense that Mike Tyson was hurting in a big way, a damaged soul that would lash out at those who pushed him, and when some random fan did just that, Tyson unloaded one of the wildest series of threats you will ever hear, more ferocious than any scriptwriter could think up. Mike was very clearly in a highly emotional state, and towards the end, his voice even cracks as he delivers this brutal put-down. Could you imagine being in that fan's shoes as this heavyweight legend fires this kind of verbal barrage in your direction? In another life, Mike Tyson would have made a fantastic writer, and when you peel back the layers of truly horrible insults and threats, there's some serious creativity on display, don't you think?
Put your mother in a straight jacket, you punk-ass white boy. Come My man told me that.
crossing the line. In recent years, it's pretty clear that Mike Tyson has matured and mellowed out a great deal. But even now, in his 50s, the dude can still flip that switch. To be fair, this total idiot sitting behind Iron Mike on this flight probably deserved what he got. After pestering the retired boxer over and over while his friend filmed, it looked as though Tyson was showing some huge restraint by not jumping over the seat and ripping this guy's head off. Well, as it turned out, his patience only went so far, and after unleashing a barrage of short punches on his target, he left this foolish young man with a souvenir. This was borderline harassment, folk, and while we don't condone violence like this, you gotta side with Tyson on this one. He clearly has that beast inside him, that's for sure.
This shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson.
Hey. Hey, Mike, come on.
JetBlue, net flight. My boy just got beat up by Mike Tyson.
Cool as can be. But for as much as Tyson still has the ability to let the animal in him out from time to time, this next clip showcases just how stoic he has become. At a comedy event that he was attending, some random guy decided to challenge the former heavyweight king to the fight. Yeah, he was seriously that stupid. When security tried to get him kicked out, he caused a major scene by pulling a gun. Instantly, panic spread throughout the room, or at least it spread to everyone not named Mike Tyson. Instead of freaking out like every single other person there, Tyson called on the aggressor to put away his weapon and even called him in for a hug before sending him on his way. He barely shifted in his chair the entire time, and while the dude tried to play the whole thing off as a joke, it was clear that things could have gone very, very differently if Tyson wasn't so chilled out. Some guys are just built differently, and Mike's ability to deal with a potentially life-threatening situation is, quite frankly, ridiculous. Thanks for watching, fight fans. We'll be back soon.